You know, as a kid and now somewhat an adult, I never thought two of my wishes would be completed. First one being so hyped about a Lego game like I used to when I was a kid, and the second one being another Batman game, since I was like 12 basically, technically when also Dark Knight dropped. And today two of my wishes have been fulfilled. I ain't gonna lie, healing inner child in me felt so good and great that I can't stop playing it even after 100%. Luckily enough, I had a partner in crime and some help and extra fun while playing this game. Her name is Ali. Ali is like the best person you can ever have in your life, and for multiple reasons. Unfortunately, I haven't bought the deluxe edition, so I couldn't play it 3 days prior to release. But when the game released on May 22nd, I started tweaking. Not because the game arrived at midnight or 1 AM, trust me, I've been awake to see with my own two eyes if that was possible, but no, it was because the game was released on Steam at 7 fucking PM. Please developers, next time deliver it later, honestly. Also, yes, she is also helping me to get the achievements for RA6, even though I still have not finished RA3 and RA7. By the time I'm recording this video, I actually uploaded RA3, RA7 is still in the process. Being a huge Batman fan since birth comes with a cost, and that is, it has its perks, but it also has its flaws. One of the perks was I was hyped throughout this game 24/7, but some flaws are sometimes even things that are supposed to happen chronologically, or the things how it happened in the movies and comics. Lego hasn't portrayed it the way I thought. And understand, it's a Lego game, but trust me, more adults play this than the kids themselves, and I'm also one of them. But enough of me yapping, it's time to play Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. New game. Yes! Dark Knight! More frequent, the classic, more traditional, unlimited lives, fewer and...
We go cape or dark?
Achievements. Complete prologue chapter, no, there are no difficulties here. Fuck it, we ain't bitches, Dark Knight! We are Dark Knight! Now I haven't played most recent Lego games. They're still sitting in my backlog, which I will come back to, but what surprised me is immediately the game has difficulties. Of course, Dark Knight being the hardest, however, to be completely transparent with you, we forgot about it in the next hour or so. The differences is that there were more enemies and that you have less hearts and 3 lives, and if you die you just respawn at the checkpoint, which was like basically not even 2 minutes ago. So when it comes to punishment system, there isn't any major, thank god, because, well, I'm washed. So yeah, that was a bummer, but kind of illogical of a game to do that. If you were already giving me difficulties, why wouldn't also be there achievements for it? But still, since the name Dark Knight got me a boner, I've decided to just drop the bomb on her and go with the hardest one. Oh my god.
Look, what the fuck is this graphic though?
It's good?
Yeah, for the Lego? God damn.
Nuke this city. The plot of this game is that they have combined the movies, games and the comics into one, making it not only a Batman game but also Lego one. And in the start I played as Brucey, who was still a kid, and here he just got parts for his costume. Where what I also love about this is that having detective vision helps you navigate, and the game sets apart important stuff from, well, not so important stuff. Apart from collectibles, like in some missions, red bricks, part of decorations and so on. But that's a spoiler for now that I ain't going to go through. Nonetheless, as soon as the Bruce put on his fedora to impersonate Reddit users, the game dropped us our first achievement. Unfortunately, the gods didn't want Bruce to become one of the few, so Fedora flew all the way to the well where he dropped, just like in the movie Batman Begins. Of course, some people like me could take some events with a grain of salt because it didn't follow the script from the movies, but I like how they made it almost the same yet different. What kind of does suck is that Rachel wasn't throughout this whole game, even though it shaped Bruce the way he is, and also one of the key elements why he became Batman. But you know what? Let's ask a question first. Why are the Lego games always popular amongst all the ages? And the answer is simple. Humor. Damn! 300, and he gives a penny to him! What the fuck? The intro of the game mixed the Batman Begins with a Batman movie from 2022, which is my favorite movie by the way, put basically Brucey to confront Falcone. Problem was, he was so hard to reach. Luckily enough, Jim Gordon was there to help us, but this was also our first combat encounter inside of new Batman game. And let me tell you, the start, well, it didn't went well as I expected. Yes, we almost choked in a kid's game, but luckily enough, he was picked by Rage Al Ghul. And Rage gave him a reason to train and become a better man. A weapon that can actually stop the Falcone and defend himself. The journey of Bruce Wayne wasn't easy, but at least he had Talia to keep him company. Just to be clear, Talia was not part of his training regimen inside of a movie, but more on that later on. But in order to get to the temple, he had to climb the mountain and acquire the blue flower that was at the top of the mountain. But while climbing, we got introduced with a grappling mechanic, parkour, and building. What's really cool is that you can build together and get past the checkpoint, but both players are required while also having a quick time event. Once Bruce and Talia reached inside the dojo, Rage introduced them to 3 things they must learn. First one was combat, where the game teaches you how to dodge and do a takedown. Second one teaches you about stealth and the stealth takedowns, while the third one being, well, teaching you how to use a shuriken, distract someone, or actually stun them and beat the living shit out of them. Now Bruce was intrigued by a ninja that accidentally took a bomb with him outside, so at night him and Talia sneaked in and turned out Rage wanted to bomb the whole Gotham. Ali also found a red brick. This is the moment where Talia told him that Rage was her father and that Bruce should join them. Of course he didn't want to, and Talia just helped Bruce for some reason, even though he wasn't in the movie to begin with and she was the villain in another one, but we had our first boss fight which wasn't that hard and Bruce decided to nuke this whole dojo instead, giving us the achievement and making his way back to Gotham. After he came back home, he decided to revisit the old well and found a cave inside. He got gooned by bats and this is where his idea of Batman came in, quite literally. He also found his old dad's supercar and decided to paint it black, which I think it was a nice touch, and grabbed his Batman gear to go outside and stop Falcone, since he now wears his big boy pants. Of course, Flash was being corrupted by donuts, but Jim Gordon on the other hand, we all know who he was. So they went after the Flash to interrogate him. Love how they made this interrogation scene, but Lego-ish, not breaking his legs. After we completed the level, we also got another achievement. I've also equipped the red brick, though it had superpowers, but it turns out it was only a cosmetic thing. And this was the moment where I knew this game was going to slap even more. Open world was insane. From stopping crime on foot to chasing down criminals with a car, there were so many things to unlock after, but basically after completing every single story mission, you would get a gold brick. So I decided to put upgrade on each side, one for combat and exploration, giving me yet another achievement called lighter, fast and agile. We also had a side mission of finding missing posters, and when we put them together we found a penguin and tracked him down. And this is one of my favorite scenes of them all. Why? Well, one of the main reasons was its direct scene from the Batman 22, which I think it was the best Batman movie ever made. Of course, he snitched on Falcone saying he was in Iceberg Lounge, but before we headed there, we also had another villain that we all love and adore, and collecting his trophy, and that was Riddler, and completing his puzzle room. Overall, altogether there were 21 puzzle rooms in this game, but they weren't all Riddler. More on that later on. But after completing this one, we got our first Riddle trophy out of 61 of them. Thank God there weren't 220 of them, so I didn't broke a sweat that much. Iceberg Lounge was quite a way to begin his Batman journey, since we immediately got introduced with a new type of enemy, shields. And I got to say, this was one of the most annoying type of enemies later on for me. The reason being is that I couldn't do jack shit to them apart from doing this acrobatic move. I've also destroyed my first disco ball out of 5 of them, and let me explain what this actually is. You see, some levels do have collectibles and red bricks. After you destroy 5 of them, you unlock that collectible and can be placed in Batcave on these building sections. Also, some levels do have 5 Wayne Tech crates, and Once unlocked, it gives you 2 points, but all of that will be revealed very soon. We also found our second red brick, and thank God, cause now you can unlock red bricks while also playing as those characters, so you don't have to come back to those levels after. In order to get to the Falcone's office, we had to build a drill and drill our way down, quite literally on the dance floor. But after some dancing, we snuck up inside and found a Red Hood one. Of course, the game started fighting each other, giving us the opportunity to chase down the Falcone. And we did. Of course, Selena helped us with the cat, but that doesn't matter since he was finally put behind the bars. While also driving around the map, we managed to find another achievement for maintaining the stud meter for 60 seconds. One of the good sides of this game is that the map is large, so in order to go from point A to point B, we had to use fast travels that we had to unlock. So we unlocked a subway station so we could fast travel to a Batcave. Now my ass accidentally pressed a button for marking, giving me yet another achievement. So in the Batcave, Jim and Batman got some new gear. Gordon got this bouncy gun that utterly is broken, and Batman got a bat club, which for some reason he was also scanning a teddy bear to see what it contains. So they decided to make a workbench in the meantime, and inside he could upgrade character gadgets for the price of those tokens that we got from Wayne Tech rates. Unfortunately, the Batcave PC was a junk machine from 90s, so they had to go to the Wayne Tech Tower, and Batman distracted Gordon so he could switch to a Bruce Wayne, and with Lucius Fox's help, Batman's scanning power, they found out that teddy bear contained a chemical called lafonium, forcing people to smile. But remember, the Red Hood one had web filled with teddy bears, while also flying a chopper. Yes, now it was the time to follow it, but unfortunately, since me and Ali got tired, we wanted to continue the next day. While I was waiting also for Ali to join, I somehow got a 100 stealth takedowns achievement by preventing a crime. And I also got the achievement for upgrading 3 gadgets, but I forgot to record it. So this is all I have. But we continue with the story shortly after. And this time we had to stop the Red Hood one while in Ace Chemicals. And I gotta be honest, we also got introduced with a new type of enemy, and Gordon got a little bit zesty. Million! Let's go. A long story short, this level was all about chasing the Red Hood one, and how that the villain dropped inside of acid, hinting us he actually became Joker. Chapter 1 was officially completed and we got the achievement for it, but also started chapter 2. Falcone behind the bars, Oswald as a mayor, and Bruce well being Bruce and upgrading his Batcave. Speaking of Batcave, the first mission was just introducing us what the Batcave finally had to offer, like a challenge board. But what's really cool is that once I checked off my first challenge, I got the achievement for it, and also Lego piece on the board from animated series collection that costs like 300 euros nowadays. A space where I can place props, and I placed 5 of them since it was also achievement for it, and for 1000 stats unlocked one of the best looking space for suits in the entire Lego franchise. This was so sick that I was stunned every time I would come here, especially after getting all the suit. But after building all of that, we got a phone call from Batmite saying he opened a shop, but in order to get to him we had to unlock the explosive gel, and of course inside of the shop we could buy suits and decals for Batcave. Shortly after we got another phone call and Joker started to terrorize the city, including Cobblepot, but he escaped. Harvey Dent on the other side got some dents on his face. Get it? Because he's last name is Dent. Oh well. Luckily this time our Batmobile had a grapple, so we stopped the mine van and Selena joined us on stopping the Joker, which also on a mission I got the achievement for completing 20 challenges, and at the end of the level we ended with a bang for unlocking a Catwoman. While I was doing races in Gotham City, Ali decided to go to a Batcave and purchase 5 items, giving me yet another achievement, but after I completed them, I returned to a Batcave and upgraded the rest of the things needed for yet another achievement called I Own the Place. and decided to buy 3 more vehicles for the 20th achievement. We also helped out a stuck zookeeper, and Ali could now change to Gordon, and I placed a tracker on the bear. Problem was there were 21 animals scattered around the city, but in the meantime we decided to stop the penguin since he destroyed the duck boat, and since he knew more about the cars Joker placed. So we went inside of a warehouse, stopped the condiment man, and grabbed the last card, and once inspected we found out about the location of a building called Flugheim, where Joker and his goons had a little show that was from the old movie, which we loved. Inside of this mission there wasn't anything that happened really, apart from Joker introducing himself to a Batman and how he was the Red Hood all along. We also went around the map and unlocked things we can. I got 2 more achievements, one of them for discovering 100 open world events, and the second one for getting 5 gold medals in the AR trials. Okay, so now was the time to stop the Joker, since he organized a parade where he threw money to people and wanted to gas them with a Smilex. But of course, being Batman and Catwoman, they stopped him. But what was also crazy is on this section my PC was just dying due to the game's poorly optimization. But hey, at least he got captured. Of course, while she wasn't looking, I may have been tinkering with the game, so it looked like this.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Gotham always finds a way to keep me busy.
What is...
Hello? What the fuck am I playing, bruh?
What
Is this test build? This is test build.
Did you change anything? in
No,
the
what
game?
the fuck?
What do you mean
Oh,
you
we are
don't?
playing test build.
What the heck is this?
And I started gliding around the time to get another achievement and one more for finishing second chapter and beginning with the third one. Chapter 3 was one of the longest one, and may I say was really something else, since we got hinted with Poison Ivy, Robin, Harvey Dent and breaking out, and Bruce casually having a photo of Talia in his hand. What was also insane is that in the meantime him and Selena had a relationship, but while the relationship was building, so were the stakes, since he got introduced to a new sort of side missions, and those were to just get Falcone's money out of the safe, since Penguin took it all at once and Falcone was in prison. I also decided to beat some criminals up, and I got the achievement for preventing 30 crimes. And in the mission we got introduced with Robin. I also unlocked the lock-in state and got the achievement for 99 combat streak, and what was also fun is that we had a bug mid-level. So I decided to pull up with a photo mode and roll the camera over 20 degrees to get the achievement, because after all of that we just restarted, and would you know it, it actually worked. And at the end of the level we got the achievement for unlocking Robin and stopping Two-Face from bombarding the place. Of course, Dick being adopted now, he became Robin, so what better things to do with a dynamic duo is, well, then to unlock some more achievements, like visiting every district and unlocking all the fast travel points. Also more side missions like crime scenes for Killer Croc and Ivy plants. But the real mission was to actually defeat Ivy, which was the whole chapter 3. But before we close it, Ali got me achievement for defeating every type of enemy, and then got for completing chapter 3. The intro of chapter 4 cooked, but it was the chapter in our first mission we first had access to Batgirl and had to stop Firefly. Of course, at the end of the level we got the achievement for unlocking the Batgirl and got introduced to Mr. Freeze, and Dick growing up to become Nightwing. Just didn't want to tell that to Batman yet, but after he got his ass froze, Nightwing jumped in with a Batgirl and stopped him and got the achievement at the end of the level, which was the end of chapter 4, so that means we unlocked the 35th achievement and beginning chapter 5. Going into chapter 5, since Joker looked like Joker like Heath Ledger acted as, a lot of scenes were exactly from that movie, which is my second favorite one. But this mission was about chasing Joker and stopping him for the god knows how many times already, and getting the achievement for unlocking Talia, and of course Joker being the Arkham Asylum, while also hearing this noise. Where Croc is?
Yeah, I know.
You heard that noise? Dun, 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 dun.
Yep.
God, I missed that sound. I just woke up from my 10 years of sleep. We also had an interrogation moment, and met a Scarecrow from Arkham Knight. But after battling him with the toxin, the chapter 5 ended in an elevator and chapter 6 came in, which Batman was smashed by Bane and Batgirl and Nightwing took the lead. Of course, here they just went to the Wayne Tower to destroy the tumblers while Gordon and his crew was fighting Bane goons, but Batman and Catwoman in the meantime defeated Bane. But the truest villain was Talia, because she wanted the reactor to explode and erase Gotham. Of course, Dick and Batman stopped her, but also so did Gordon and Batgirl did their part, giving us yet another achievement for completing the game. Now comes the cleanup part, and basically side quests like changing the screensaver on Batcomputer, purchasing all the upgrades for a single character, getting all the red bricks preventing each type of crime, collecting all the Batcave trophies, opening all 200 Wayne Tech crates, collecting 25 Bat symbols, even though I did collect them all 50, like a T-Rex in a Batcave. Well, it was just because, flex. Unlocking all the suits, completing all the puzzle rooms and every side activity in Gotham. Unlocking all the vehicles and collectibles, and finally getting all the skill upgrades, which goes to the last achievement called I Am Batman for collecting all the achievements. So we celebrated with the gang. And I've also completed the challenge board in the meantime. Overall, the game was fun and definitely recommend. To be completely honest with you, the game cooked. The parries, gadgets, driving system, tons of Easter eggs from other icon films and games, introducing few people to Bat Family, graphics, huge man with tons of activities, some things you can interact with. The details that have been put inside of a game was well above amazing. However, there are a few flaws that are just major and I cannot accept. Yes, there are some major bugs like clipping underground, the optimization. Even though the game is quite well animated, lots of things are just rinse and repeat and on loophole with the whole thing. I felt like they have added maybe 5 animations of takedowns and 5 for finishers, and called it a day. The reason what makes my blood boil is when you get stuck while grappling. The way collectibles also in this game are made are insane. I mean, 120 puzzles is a lot, okay? Puzzles are not that hard, but man, mixing the Taskmaster and the Riddler in my opinion is abomination. Just so in the end you quote unquote capture both of them. 200 caches feel like a chore. That's something you enjoy, and a little positive in this is some of them are just easy to open and some of them you had to use a brain a bit. But red bricks, like before, they don't have any uses except for coloring the outfits. So the shop is completely randomized and all of the outfits and vehicles are locked at the end of the game. Breaking the walls was repetitive and hacking could have been done different, since if you miss the first time you have to circle it back and you have to retry. Also, getting the pin inside of a hole is a bit of a junkie. Also, tracking down the animals and destroying the plants was fun, but in the end you only get a gold brick that you use in skill tree. Like, why you couldn't add some kind of cutscene or a boss fight in the end? Felt totally bland in my opinion. Not to mention that if you play co-op, player 1 cannot change from Batman. Okay, yes, it's a Batman game, but you could swap in other Lego Batman games. 7 characters also doesn't sound a lot, but okay, they each have different abilities and uses. But my guy, Robin became Nightwing. Why they just couldn't get Tim or perhaps even Todd? Better yet, if Talia hasn't been added in the game in the first place. They couldn't went completely different route and just added Damian in the mix. I admit, Batman timeline doesn't make sense at all. And lots of people are clueless or they haven't watched shit like Ali. But what a better opportunity to get them hooked up than a game like this. For example, Scarecrow model looked exactly like the one from Batman Arkham Knight, even had a similar scene. There was also Deathstroke, Calendar Man, like, come on, add something that makes people want to be hooked, not just chit-chatting in the person. Now, I'm not hating on the voice actors, but Talia having French accent completely pissed me off. Not having anything against voice actor, but making her French was just missing in my opinion. And see you guys in the next video. Peace.